Hello, fellow commanders, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous Return from Beagle Point. We are currently on our way back to the bubble after having visited Beagle Point, with the purpose being to try to increase our exobiology rank up to the elite status, as well as make enough money to hopefully buy a fleet carrier and kind of take it out into the black and have fun with that. Today's topic of discussion is going to be the madness that comes with grinding, whether it's in a video game or in real life or whatever it is. There's a lot of that has to go along with that. But for the new viewers, we do have a cycle of the things that we do. We're going to hop into the system, pop our discovery scanner, see how many bodies are in the system. Oh, looks like we're going to have a neutron star in this next one, so that's cool. You can always tell because it's bright and has all the crazy lights coming off of it like that, so we're going to have a special little jump here. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and just take advantage of this right now. I'm going to focus on actually doing the star correctly rather than worrying about whether there's anything in the system here. So you get into the neutron star's cone here, it'll supercharge your frameshift drive, and then once it's done, you get out of the cone. Just like that. And you start your charging, and as you can see, we're about to jump 219 light years. So it gives you a 3 or 4 times, I think it gives you like a 4 times boost to your jump distance or something like that. I have no idea how many bodies were in this system. We're just going to go ahead and skip it now that we have our charge. I don't think the charge goes away, but I don't like to risk it. I like to just go ahead and use it right away. So anyways, like I said, are we going? Oh, we're doing a second one. So anyways, we hop into a system, we pop the discovery scanner. Then once we're done with fuel scooping operations, assuming that we actually get to one, because this is the second neutron star in a row, we'll do a fuel scooping operation, and then we'll do a full-on scan of the system, assuming it has around, well, it used to be I was doing 15 bodies or less.
Frameshift drive operating beyond safety limits.
I gotta get back in the cone there.
Frameshift drive operating beyond safety limits.
I used to have a 15 body limit for when I was going to do a full-on scan of the system, but now we're mostly just looking to see if there's any high metal content worlds is basically what we're looking for, because that's where we typically find really good signatures and stuff like that. But any kind of non-icy body will have a really good chance of dropping spawning stratum tectonicus, and that's kind of what we're looking for. So anyways, this game is a particularly good example of something as something to use as for the topic of discussion for today, which is the grind of life in general and the madness that can come with that, especially when you're Elite Dangerous players typically talk about space madness, about going into the black. Elite Dangerous explorers, anyways, talk about space madness, about how you go out into the black and you're stuck out there and you're not able to really do anything about that situation. There's plenty for you to do, but you're kind of stuck out there in the black, and there's not really any other options than to, suck it up and keep going. And that can make you feel kind of. Let's see. We're looking for. Doesn't look like there's going to be any high metal content worlds, but we'll see. So there's one here, high metal content, but so if you look in the top right of the screen, features, there's no biological sources on that one. So we're going to go ahead and does this one have we'll check out the rocky bodies anyways, just to see if maybe there might be some. But all right, so that's it for the rocky bodies. There's at least one more high metal content world. Not that one. Fortunately, it's not behind the star. And this is probably going to be it. All right, that's it for the high metal content world. So we're going to go ahead and keep on moving. There's a madness that can come when you're doing something that is just mind-numbingly repetitive. Oh, it's another neutron star. We're getting some distance down today. And this game exemplifies that to some degree, because there's a lot of grind associated with this game, whether it comes from just the general tasks that you have to do. There's not that many when it comes to variety of different things to do. You're either doing combat missions where you blow stuff up, and that can get repetitive after a while. Courier missions where you run things around, and that can get repetitive after a while. You can play the trade market, which, it's still more or less the same, doing the same thing over and over and over again. Exploration is more or less the same thing 99% of the time. You're jumping, scanning, scanning. Maybe every once in a while you find something really cool and interesting, but for the most part you're just doing what we're doing right now. We're, jumping from system to system, hoping to find something, hoping to find biological signatures, and then even when we do find biological signatures, most of the time it's going to be the same boring stuff over and over again. And you know, it's kind of a good analog for life, because that's kind of the way life is for most people. Most of us aren't rich and able to just kind of travel around the world and do whatever we want to do whenever we want to do it. Or you're stuck in whatever situation you're in, trying to make a living and survive. And oops, I didn't slow down fast enough. Well, maybe I did. Let's get in this cone here.
Frame shift drive operating beyond safety limits.
So, you know, especially if you're the kind of person who has big dreams, or even just not big dreams, but just dreams that are different from just the typical average person's dream of just, you know, being able to have a decent house and a car and a job and a career and all of these other things that normal people tend to want. You know, when you have dreams that are outside of that kind of thing, it can be really maddening to be forced to put up with the daily grind of life. And, you know, a lot of people are going to be, you know, people, especially people who, you know, who have the standard kind of dream, who just want, you know, as long as the basics are satisfied, they're content. They're going to be very much like, oh, boohoo, cry me a river, because, you know, that they're doing what they got to do to get what they want out of their life. And it just, it's not necessarily a maddening thing for them, because what they want out of life doesn't require any kind of special consideration. They just, you know, they get what they want by doing the normal stuff of just going in and grinding out their job and doing what they got to do. But that's it for the high metal content world. So moving right along. Red dwarf star. We'll be able to fuel scoop that one. But for people who have a desire to do something outside of that, being forced to put up with the daily grind is just, it's like not only are you not able to do the things you want to do in your life, but you also have to do this mind-numbingly repetitive thing of having to go and do something for somebody else for 8+ hours of your day. And it's just super frustrating, and it sucks. And it's kind of the same and I bring this up as a parallel like, it's two parallel things that I'm talking about here. It's the in-game mind-numbing repetitiveness of this game, you know, depending on what you're trying to do, and then the mind-numbing repetitiveness of just trying to survive on a daily basis. And that's, you know, regardless of what, it's 10 bodies. Hold on, let's go ahead and check out and see. We have some high metal content worlds there. Let's see if we can find anything cool. No biological features there, and the biological... Oh, hold on a second. That is an ammonia world, so we definitely want to go and scan that. We made some pretty good distance today, so let's go ahead and get that. Target that. Get it on our Super Cruise Assist. Turn ourselves towards it, and we'll go scan it. You know, regardless of what kind of life you have, everybody has different goals and dreams, and, you know, not everybody is going to have the same desires for their life as, you know, what you would consider the average person. The average person is going to want to have, you know, a basic life where they have enough income or whatever it is to help them survive, and then the ability to kind of do a few things here and there that they want to do. But some of us have different desires for our life, and we really don't want to be stuck in that daily grind. And there's only a couple of ways to get out of that. One of them, turn to a life of crime, which isn't exactly something I'm interested in trying to do. You know, that's a fairly immoral. I don't know. More when it comes to the law, I don't necessarily agree with the idea that just because it's a law, it's something that's sacrosanct and it should be paid attention to. But for the most part, the risk that you... Hello? Stop. Okay. I didn't think it was going to stop. The risks involved in doing something like that are a lot worse than, you know, some of the risks you might take within the bounds of society. And, you know... If you screw up something in a business venture, that's not necessarily going to destroy your life. I mean, it could, but you're not going to go to jail at the very least. If you break the law bad enough, they're going to send you to prison for a while, and then now you're really in a bad daily grind, because that's like the worst kind of grind to be in. But yeah, that's one option. Just go outside of the law and start doing things that aren't necessarily the best idea. Or you have to try to find an alternative way of making the money or earning the resources or whatever system that you're in to do it in a way that allows you to move around or allows you the freedom to do whatever it is you're trying to do. I can only bring things in the context of what my dream is, which is being able to move around and work from anywhere. But different people are going to have different ideas of what they want out of their life, and obviously I don't necessarily know what those things might be. But there's a madness that comes with having a desire to move towards something and being stuck in a system that doesn't allow you to move in that direction. So, it's super frustrating when you're trying to figure out a way to make that happen. But then the other problem is that, especially my generation, we grew up in a system that taught us to behave a certain way, and then I made the decision to join another system that's very rigid in its way of thinking. And I don't know, I struggle to break out of the mentality of systems. We have so many systems in our society that are meant to regulate things and try to prevent you from doing this or prevent you from doing that. And for somebody who was raised in a system and then spent a lot of my adult life in that kind of system, and it's just very difficult for me to think outside the box in a way that allows me to break out of the rules and regulations that our society has put up around us. So, for most of my life, I've been stuck. I've been stuck in this, daily grind kind of situation. And for somebody like me, who, weirdly, I've always hated repetition. I've always hated consistency. As far as I'm easily bored. Yet I've always chosen safe routes that end up putting me in situations where it's the same thing over and over again. And it just kind of drives me crazy, because I really don't have any interest in the traditional kind of career, the traditional kind of life. But I also really haven't been exposed to the kind of people and experiences that would either inspire me or help me, or any of that kind of vein of thought that would, move me away from this traditional thought process into something that would allow me to identify opportunities to do things that would move me in a direction that I want to go. I know there's a very complicated way of saying I have been molded by society to be a robot, and I don't know how to break out of it. But at the same time, I do have the kind of desire for independence that makes it so that I don't want to spend my life, working for somebody else or doing things that, spending my time doing things for everybody else. And especially, you consider the fact that when you're an employee for a job, you're spending your effort trying to build someone else's dream, not yours. Unless you're lucky enough that you're able to find a job doing what you love. Like say maybe you're a nurse and you want to be a nurse. I mean, obviously, if that's what you want to be, then obviously that's a different story. But for the most part, I think most people in the world are doing jobs that they have to do because they need to make money to live. They need to be able to put food on the table. They need to have a roof over their heads. They need to do it because this is what they have to do to make a living. And I think most people. And this is not saying, I'm not trying to paint the average person as like lesser or a bad thing. That's not what I mean. But I'm just saying most people, I think, are more or less fine living the kind of life that doing a regular 9 to 5-ish kind of job provides them. They don't need anything more than that. And that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to say that there is. But for me, I really struggle living that kind of life. It looks like a water world. I really struggle living. I've always struggled with living that kind of life I've done it for most of my life, but it's just one of those things that it just kind of gnaws away at my sanity to live that way. And I think a lot of it just comes from the fact that I grew up reading fantasy adventure. All right, there's one biological signature there on a rocky body. It's probably just going to be bacteria, though, so we're not going to take the time to go look at it. And that's it for... Oh, maybe not. Let's check and see if any of these other signatures... Nope. All right, and that's it for the high metal content. Nope, maybe not. It says there's one more. All right, that's it for that. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be an Earth-like world. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next system. So what was I saying? I've lost track of my thoughts. I've spent most of my life doing the grind, basically, and I'm at a point now where I just really don't want it anymore. I'm really trying to find a way out of it. You know, the YouTube thing is just one of those... It is something that I'm doing on the off chance that maybe it happens, but I think mostly I'm just waiting to figure out or to have an inspiration come to me for something I could do outside of that. But anyways, I always end up branching off of my main topic. The subject for this video is that there's a madness that comes with being forced to do something over and over and over again that you don't want to do. And let's take away the job aspect of it. Just daily life, and you have something that you're forced to do every day that you have to do because of whatever reason, and you dread it. You get to the point where you don't want to get up in the morning because you don't want to have to go put up with whatever this thing is that you don't want to have to put up with. And it can drive you crazy after a while because, you know, one of the things that we're always told is to just, you know, manage your expectations and just learn to accept things that you can't change. And I don't know, it's just, I think it's harder for some of us to accept those things than it is for others. And as nice as it would be to be able to just be like, well, you know what, it is what it is. I'm just going to accept my life the way it is and suck it up and do whatever. Some of us just aren't able to do that. Some of us are incapable of being content and happy in certain situations. And it's not even necessarily that we have to be in the situation that we're looking for. There's just certain situations that we just really don't want to be in. And, you know, for some of us, it's that grindiness of life, of having to do this repetitive, boring crap over and over and over again, and seeing no way out of it. Like, I could put up with it for quite a long time if I knew that it was leading me towards the point where I'm able to do what I want. But life in general for me, it just hasn't shown me that. I don't know. Part of it, I think, is because of I'm a late Gen Xer, early millennial, depending on where you draw the line, and I've seen how everything kind of just falls apart over and over again. And me personally, I've always had my legs swept out from under me every time I start moving in a direction that, you know, it seems like it might be some sort of progress. But the problem for me is that I'm extremely demanding about what I want out of my life. I'm not demanding about my career. I'm demanding about I'm looking for opportunities that are going to take me in the direction I want to go. And I just haven't found one that actually does that for me. There's been opportunities, and I think a lot of people would probably be really upset at the opportunities that I've allowed to pass by because I didn't see any value in them. And it's just one of those things where it's kind of an eye of the beholder kind of thing. You know, an opportunity is only an opportunity if it takes you in the direction that you're trying to go. If it's taking you away from where, and especially if it's something that's taking you away from where you want to be, then it's not really an opportunity. It's just a path you could follow if you're willing to change what your goals are. And, you know, opportunity is one of those things that you can look at it a few different ways. You could look at it as, you know, it's an opportunity that could lead you to the point where you're making enough money to where you're able to have your freedom. But the problem with that thought process is that assumes that you're going to live long enough to earn enough money, depending on what these opportunities are. That's assuming that you're going to live long enough to earn enough money for that to actually apply. And that's kind of the problem that I have with the grind mentality that a lot of generations have, where it's like, you know, you got to save up and save up and save up, and eventually you'll have enough money to retire and do what you want. And it's like, well, yeah, but by then you're too old to really enjoy any of it. You know what I mean? Like, if I have to wait until I'm in my 60s or 70s to have the freedom to do what I want, how am I supposed to enjoy anything by then? Have you seen 60 and 70-year-olds? The most of them? They're barely able to walk. They're barely able to function. Like, that doesn't, like, there's no, by that point, you should be ready to, I don't know, me personally, if I'm in my 60s or 70s and I'm not able, I'm not able to, like, really function, I'm starting to think about, maybe it's time to be done. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I don't want to be here anymore. I see some people who are really old. Like, there's some people that are really old and they're super functional. Like, that's a different thing. But you don't know which one of those you're going to be now. You know what I mean? There's no way to know what kind of health you're going to be in, what kind of mental state you're going to be in. And I really don't want to be one of those really old people that has to be taken care of all the time because I have Alzheimer's, or my body is crippled, or whatever other things could potentially happen to me in the future. I don't want to. By that point in my life, I hope I'm either dead, or they've come out with whatever medical science is going to make it so that we live forever. To where they make us young again, because apparently that's supposed to happen in our lifetime. Apparently our generation could be the first generation that never has to die if we don't want to. That's what they keep saying. I don't know how real that is, but we'll see. We're gonna start looking for a body to land on here pretty soon, but with 2 bodies in the system, that's gonna be just stars. So we're gonna keep on looking. So, I don't know, there's a dichotomy the problem with talking about philosophical things like this is that there is no catch-all solution, there is no wonder solution, there is no magic solution to any problems. You could save for your whole life and maybe have a decent retirement out of that, but then you're too old to actually do anything with it except go on some lame cruises, or, you know, you might be able to do some traveling, but you're gonna be so tired, and, you know, your body is going to be your body is going to have fallen apart, and you're going to be all right, so I'm going to grab this, but then I'm going to see if there's any bodies to land on, because I'm pretty sure it holds on to the supercharge. It's been a while since I've messed with supercharging my stuff, but I'm pretty sure it holds on to it. All right, so let's check out the map and see. This one is really far away, so we're not doing that. So let's get ourselves turned around and we'll make our jump here. All right. And we'll try to find the next body, or try to find a body to land on. So you could do the traditional route of saving up and hope that you have and hope that, you know, something doesn't wipe out your savings in the whole path along that. That's a whole other topic that we could talk about. But, you know, you make it to retirement, but you're too old to enjoy it, or you try to find non-traditional ways, but the odds of actually finding something that's going to work out so that you could maybe have some kind of something that works out and you could actually enjoy it while you're young is just really small, because traditionally older people have an advantage because they've been around longer and they've had more opportunities to leverage things in their favor. It's just kind of the way that works. Okay, hold on. Is there anything? Doesn't say. We're gonna go ahead and make the jump here. The problem is that the next one's a neutron star too, so we may be just logging out in space depending on how much time we have left, because I had some issues happen today that really pushed my recording schedule back, and it's the evening and I don't have time to sit here and do extra long videos. So I think here's what we're gonna do. We'll scan the system. If there's not a landable body in this system, then we'll fuel scoop, hop to the next system, and go ahead and log out in space. I don't typically like to do that, but we're in a situation now where I need to move on to the next thing. So I have somebody waiting for me. So we have 6 bodies in here. And it doesn't look like... Yeah, most of them are... Alright, so we're just going to make the next jump, and then we're just going to hop out in space, I think. So anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to click the like button if you did, so that the YouTube algorithm will know and send the video out to as many people as possible. If you're not a subscriber, please consider doing that now, so that when the next video comes out, it will show up in your feed and you'll be able to watch it as soon as it becomes available. Channel members get early access to all of my content, so be sure to click the join button, check out the list of options available there, decide if any of those are right for you. If you're not interested in a membership but would still like to help out the channel, you can always leave YouTube's version of a tip with that thanks button. Direct contributions such as these are greatly appreciated and a critical component to helping to turn this channel into a full-time gig, which is the dream. So again, thank you very much for your time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to come back for the next one, and I'll see you then.